huge accomplishment, and I just want to commend you guys and tell you what an awesome job you've been doing. It's hard to stick with something. Most people like stick with the diet for about 20 to 30 days, so you guys are like already over the hump, and hopefully this isn't a diet to you, but it's more something that you're embracing, changing your identity, and becoming health rebels. So thank you so much for being here today. So today we are going to be on page 26 if you are not there already, and we're going to learn about how to maximize your grocery budget with vegetables, to buy the right produce, and also to know which ones to buy organic, not organic. So we're going to kind of go over all of that, and also how to optimize your weight loss journey, your health journey, and hopefully get you on track for the long haul, not just for the short term. So to start off today, before we get started on the meat and potatoes of our talk, I'm going to tell you my Veggie Tale. If any of you guys know the Veggie Tale, like little kids cartoon. So growing up, I mostly did not eat vegetables. My family ate out like probably 5 or 6 nights a week, which is crazy. Pretty much fast food. And if you did eat in, it was like macaroni and cheese and chicken nuggets. So that was kind of like my staple growing up. And I considered vegetables to be a Caesar salad at Olive Garden. So I've come a long way since then, but I thought I'd start off by telling a funny story about my brother. So one time we were sitting at the table, and I think my mom or grandma had made broccoli, and they were like, you have to eat your broccoli if you want, something else. So he took a bite and like spit it out and threw the fork and said, I hate you, broccoli, and then like stomped up to his room and was like super upset. And so now my whole family jokes with him, and we're like, I hate you, broccoli, and it was like this like kind of ongoing family joke. So that kind of just gives you a picture into kind of how my family viewed vegetables. So fast forward to in college, I had a roommate, and she was like, I want to make Brussels sprouts for dinner tonight. And I was like, I don't think you understand. I don't do vegetables. Like, I don't eat Brussels sprouts. Like, I don't do that. And she was like, just try it. So she, I think, put salt and olive oil and butter, and they tasted amazing. And I was like a little bit hesitant to admit it. I was like, I actually kind of like these. And she's like, see, you just have to have vegetables cooked in a way that tastes good. So that kind of started my journey on experimenting how to cook vegetables, and that they actually weren't bad, that they were good. And another pivotal point, I remember right before Matt and I got married, Matt's grandpa asked me, like, are you going to cook for my grandson? Like, you're a good cook, right? And I was like, yeah, yes, I am. Even though I really wasn't at the time. So my idea at that point of cooking was Trader Joe's pasta and frozen green beans. And I thought that was very healthy. So again, it's all about a journey. And so I feel like after that, Matt and I just started experimenting with cooking. And I think that's one of the big things I've learned with vegetables is that sometimes it's going to be an epic fail, and that's okay. You just start over and try something new. And we've tried a lot of recipes since then, and hopefully can give you guys some of those. And then the latest that I've learned a lot with vegetable consumption has been my sister. She is a dietitian and is also trained with some chefs in New York, and she has taught me a ton about like how to add in more vegetables, how to shop at farmers markets, and more buying like the organic, and how to prepare vegetables in a way that tastes really good. So we're going to go over that a little bit today as well. So the first part that we're going to go over is the first part of your little booklet here is the removing. So does anyone know what we want to remove from our diets? Anyone want to? Carbs, you said? Yeah, yep. So So processed carbs is the first one, or nutrient lacking carbs, so if you're filling in the blanks. The second one, anyone know what else we want to remove? Sugars and vegetable oils, yeah. So industrially processed oils, and just really processed food in general, because most of them, as you can tell if you've been shopping in the stores, there's very few things that don't have vegetable oil, and then sugars. So, and then we want to fill our diets with, anyone have any guess? Veggies, yep. Healthy fats and well-sourced animal products. And then anyone know why vegetable consumption is important? We're going to go ahead and start writing this on the board and throw some things out. Fiber.
Keeps our body moving.
Keeps your body what?
Moving.
Yeah. So fiber. Vitamins, yeah. Anyone else? Why would you tell your kids that it's important for them to eat vegetables? Helps your body with
tissue and like sleep generate, or kids really care about that. Helps you grow.
What was that?
Oh, yeah.
Say that again.
Your digestion.
Yep, digestion, yep, yeah. So just like we've been talking about, there's a lot of importance to communicating well with your body. And so when you eat things from the ground and things that are whole and they have a lot more nutrients in them, things that are living are going to nourish your body in a way that things that come out of a box just aren't. And so my short answer for that one is veggies are packed with essential nutrients and vitamins. So it has all of these things as well. Like it helps your digestion, it helps you have regular bowel movements. It communicates with your body that the things that you need to communicate. So second blank, or third blank I should say, is veggies should be eaten blank and blank. So anyone have any ideas? Raw, that's a good one, yeah. Hi, welcome Tamara.
Abundance.
Yes, I love it, yeah. Abundance. Anyone else?
Wide bandwidth is your guys.
Wide bandwidth, oh I like that.
You guys. There's it. I mean wide bandwidth.
Like in variety, yeah, wide variety, yeah.
Variety.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was one of my answers. So wide variety, plentifully or in abundance. And then also, I'll write this up here, local if possible, and I'll just make that a separate one, and in season. So that's one of the things that I think I've learned a little bit more is that fruits and vegetables that are in season are going to have a lot more nutrients. They're going to not be ripened artificially. So when you get something that is out of season, so say in the winter and you're getting, summer fruit, a lot of times they'll keep it in like a refrigerator and then artificially ripen it through, I think it's ethylene gas, which it's just not going to be as beneficial as when you get, fruit that's picked off of the fields, in Central California in midsummer. So just be thinking about that. When you're buying something that is not in season, then it's probably not going to have as many nutrients and it's not going to be as good for you. Also, the longer it takes to get it to you, so if it's from another country, then it's also going to lose some of that because it's not going to be as fresh. So ideally you would buy all of your produce local and in season. Obviously that's not always feasible, but when possible. We have so many great farmers markets around here. I wish there was one in Glendora, but there are enough, around the area that we have access to that, like pretty much no one else in the country has access to. So, you go out into the middle of America and they don't really have farmers markets. So we are very lucky to have those around here. So any questions so far on that? Yeah.
So if you go to a farmer's market, is it pretty much do they take care of that in-season weeding out process for you?
Typically, yes. It depends on, I know the Pasadena one, they have a lot more farmers that are kind of like the hardcore, no pesticides. Claremont one, it just depends, but most of them are, yes. That's just generally what farmers markets are, they're taking it from the farm. However, the bummer is that some farmers markets have big farmers that will then go and sell and seem like a small farm even though they're a big farm. So I would just ask where they are, get to know them. The more, you'll actually learn a lot when you go to the booth and you start talking to them. And you'll notice the ones that are the actual farmers themselves and help harvest everything because they'll have a lot more information and usually be a lot more passionate about it versus the people that are just kind of from a large farm kind of getting paid to sell it and make it seem like farmers market produce. So, but generally, yes, I don't think I've been to any that have really out of season produce. So, yeah.
What about services like Imperfect Produce?
Yeah, so that I think is a great alternative to being able, or buying things from in-store because it's going to be seasonal things. Usually Imperfect Produce is surplus. And I like that because it also fights food waste. So it's not about, that's part of the problem with buying fruits and vegetables in the store is that the store's always gonna weed through the ones that are ugly in a way. And they're gonna make, so say a bell pepper, you look at a bell pepper and it's always shaped perfectly, has no imperfections. And that's because that's what the grocery stores want and they think that's what people want. But that doesn't necessarily mean that bell pepper is more nutritious than the one that's ugly. So I think that's a great alternative, especially if you don't have time to get to the farmer's market. So we've done that on and off for the last 6 months and I like it because I think it is more things that are in season. However, they do some overseas stuff, so I think you just have to look at where it's from. So Any other questions, input? No? Great. Okay, so the next part, I'm gonna need some more help. So ways that you can make vegetable consumption more frequent. So maybe you guys have learned this in the last couple weeks, maybe you have been doing it for a long time, but let's hear your ways that you can make vegetable consumption more frequent.
Breakfast.
Breakfast.
Put anything with, like, I make zucchini and eggs.
Okay, so adding some eggs.
Yeah, so I got my protein and some veggies, 'cause I'm not a veggie eater.
Okay,
I'm trying.
you are a veggie eater. You've been doing it.
I'm
So now you can say
I'm
you're not,
in
yeah.
abundance yet.
That's okay.
Pre-roasting or whatever so that you have them on.
Okay, so roasting,
I
okay,
like roasted.
roasting early. Okay,
Pre-prepping them.
okay, awesome, that's a great one. Prep,
Yeah, having chopped veggies in the fridge is good. Yeah.
okay,
I found with my family when they were home that if I chopped it, they'd eat it. If I didn't chop it, nobody else would,
chopped.
and they didn't get it.
Another thing I'll add to that is having it at eye level. So I don't know if you guys experience this, but when you open up your fridge, you're generally gonna go for the things that are like right about eye level and are easy to see. The things in drawers, which is interesting because like produce drawers usually like they're pushed away so you don't see them. So chop them, put them in a place that you're gonna see so that when you open up your fridge, then they're right there because whatever we see, we're a lot more likely to consume. Same thing like if you have, anything that's like even during the day, if you tend to snack on something, like take some of the produce, put it on your counter that you've chopped up and snack on that rather than the chips and that type of stuff or the things that you tend to go towards. Yeah,
Or even the vegetables that don't need to be chopped up, like
Yeah.
frozen cucumbers.
exactly, yeah.
And cherry tomatoes. You
Yep.
clean them,
Oh,
put them on the colander on your counter. And
Yes.
then it's
Yep.
Like you might, so instead of a fruit bowl,
Yes,
a vegetable bowl.
I love it. Okay, so veggie bowl on counter.
One little trick I found is stuff like that, actually putting them in the door of my refrigerator.
Okay.
Because I threw away everything.
Yeah.
In the door of my refrigerator. But like asparagus, like
Mhm.
in the morning I open my refrigerator and asparagus is in a jar.
Yeah.
It's a steak brochure, and I grab a few stalks and chop that up with my eggs.
Perfect.
Or celery.
Okay.
Or whatever. Just
Okay.
making it accessible.
Okay,
Accessibility.
okay.
It stays fresh so much longer.
In a jar. I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, you
Asparagus.
chop it, when you get asparagus, just
Yeah.
chop it and then just put it in a jar of water, like with flowers.
Oh.
It stays fresher so much longer.
Oh, that's good to know.
You learn something.
Tips and tricks, yeah.
I was gonna say, I eat vegetables, so I like to keep, to snack on, I keep
Yeah.
water
Okay.
in the fridge. And keep a little container or bag in here, so when I get ready to run out to the car.
Yeah.
And I think, oh, grab some of those, throw them in a bag and take them with me.
Totally.
Snack on that. stuff
Okay.
while I'm driving.
Okay, so keep bags close by. Anyone else?
I had to learn how to steam them properly.
Okay.
Because I
Yeah.
made really bad soggy steamed
Okay,
vegetables. and
Yeah.
It turned me off to them. for a
yeah,
while.
okay.
Yeah.
How did you learn?
I had to finally get an Instant Pot.
Okay,
Love that.
yeah,
Oh,
That's
they make
so
great
great.
veggies. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
say you have to get one of those, but for
Yeah.
me, it worked.
I
Yeah.
put my butternut squash in it and then just with the, I whole, so the seeds
Yeah.
are in it because it's tastier. Then I cut it in half, I poked it
Yeah.
and just scooped it out.
Yeah.
The seeds and ate it, that was really good.
Just a
Perfect.
good steamer basket,
Yeah.
yeah, perfect. Anyone else? Instapots are also really great for making your own bone broth. If you ever want to try that, I
I
can
make my
walk you
yogurt
through.
too.
Yeah, how to do that. So if you have an Instapot or pressure cooker. So a couple other ways that I would recommend is batch cooking, soups and stir fries. And the reason why is because, there's going to be nights when you're gone all day and come home and you're like, oh, I really don't want to make dinner, or I don't have time to make dinner. So I have found, like, I'll make a huge pot of chili or like minestrone soup or something that I just like put as many vegetables in as I can. I have 2 crock pots now so that I can double everything, and then I'll freeze it and put it in like little jars or whatever, or in bags in the freezer. And then on nights where we don't have time to make dinner or we've been on the go, then I'll take one of those out, and it's just an easy way to have a lot of vegetables in. So soups are great because you can throw so many in and get a lot of bang for your buck. So yeah, so I would batch cook, and anytime you're doing something, it doesn't usually take that much more effort to double it. So I would just say double a lot of things and save it. Even like you don't have to freeze it, but you could put it in the fridge and have it for dinner the next night. I don't know how you'd feel about leftovers, but I'm a big fan because then it takes the work out of usually the next night or two of cooking dinner. So unless you have 4 kids, then that might not ever happen, right?
It won't either.
Yeah, okay, well. Let's see what else. Fermented vegetables. We've gone over probiotics, I know before. But those are a great way to get those in. So adding sauerkraut, kimchi, Bubby's pickles are a really good one. That's a great snack. Also has a lot of probiotics. So,
But it has to be cold fermented, right? Is there a difference between those that are heat processed?
yeah. So it should be in the refrigerator section. So it shouldn't just be on the shelf. And then for things like pickles, you actually don't want them in vinegar. You want them in water, and they should say raw on them. They can have spices and salt and stuff added to it, but they should say raw. What was that? Because naturally, just over time, when it sits in the water, it just ferments on its own. So they'll store it. I think the way that they do the bubbles is like in a barrel, and then after they have fermented, then they take them and put them into like individual containers and refrigerate them.
I grew up with my mother canning and stuff.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm making it.
I mean, and I don't think those things, like if your option is chips or, a pickle that's been in vinegar, that obviously I think the pickle is a better choice. But I think generally speaking, the vinegar just allows it to have a really, really long shelf life, and it doesn't have the probiotics that the raw fermented vegetables have. Yeah. Yeah, so you have to think probiotics, it's like the bacteria. So a lot of things that we do, things like pasteurization, canning, that type of stuff, like it superheats it, so it kills off bad bacteria, but also kills off the good bacteria that you want for your gut health. And so that's why things like raw vegetables are really good. Fermented, raw fermented is really good. Raw milk, that type of stuff, because it keeps the bacteria, the good and the bad. But hopefully your immune system is good enough so that a little bit of bad bacteria isn't going to hurt you. So, yeah.
Can I ask you,
Yeah.
when you make stir fry,
Yeah.
what oils and what flavors do you
Yeah, so I kind of like rotate based on the type of stir fry I'm using. I use coconut oil a lot. I've used the duck fat. Have you guys seen the duck fat that we have? I've used the tallow. I use avocado oil sometimes, but avocado oil is tricky too because if you get the cold pressed unrefined, it's pretty expensive. So I'll use that more for like on top of things at the very end. If I'm actually roasting, it's just more expensive oil. So those are generally, and then also grass-fed ghee. That's kind of been my go-to for things because you can get one at Sprouts. It's like a pretty big jar for like $9 or $10, and it goes pretty far. So grass-fed ghee is also another really good option. And then at the end, after you're done cooking, sometimes I'll add butter or drizzle olive oil after I'm done cooking, but you just don't want to use those for cooking because they should be at lower temperatures. So sometimes I'll sprinkle those on after. So another one is cold pressed juice if you're in a hurry. And you really want to look for it not having a lot of sugar. If it tastes sweet, it has sugar, right? So you want one that has, it's okay if it has like some lemon and maybe like one type of fruit, but it should be lower on the list. So you want one that hopefully has mainly vegetables in it, little to no fruit. Let's see. Oh, last one that I thought of was grass-fed meat. So I know we've talked about this a little bit in the past, but grass meat. We'll just call it grass meat. Grass-fed meat. You guys know what I mean. But you have to think about the animal products that you're eating is whatever the animal eats, you're going to eat. So if an animal is eating grain and corn, which is cheaper obviously for the farmer, then you're going to get some of that, of the byproduct, same thing like with the hormones and all of that. So I know now a lot of meats are doing like no hormones, no whatever the other things that they add to it. But if an animal is grass-fed, and you also want to look for grass-finished. I know that's a little bit, but sometimes what they'll do now, because they know that grass-fed they can sell for more expensive, they'll put them on pastures, and at the end they'll just feed them a ton of grain to like fatten them up. And so even if they're grass-fed, they might not be grass-finished. So you want your meat to eat a lot of vegetables, and then it'll make for a tastier meat, more tender, and you'll get a lot more nutrients and vitamins from that meat.
And I do ask that because my niece is allergic to pork unless she
Yeah.
raised the pig herself.
Yeah.
Then she can eat pork.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, yeah, I feel like our meat quality has gone down, so it's kind of making a comeback now. But there's a lot of really cool ways that you can get grass-fed meat. One of the ways we have been doing it recently is there is a service called Primal Pastures, and it's a farm in Murrieta. And they have all their own cows, chickens, and basically it's pasture raised. And I like that it's local, so it's about an hour away. And you get a box. So it's kind of like Butcher Box, if any of you have heard of that. But everything is grass-fed, grass-finished, and they're really big on like taking care of their animals. There's like farm, you can go do a farm tour and see it. So they're like really big on being transparent with how they handle their animals and meat and all of that. So we have liked that. But you can also get meat. Sprouts has good grass-fed meat. Farmers markets usually do. So
This Primal Pasture?
Primal Pastures,
you
yeah.
order online?
Yeah, and then they ship it to you in a box. So you could go to the farm and pick it up too. They do pickups, but I mean, unless you have an hour to drive there and back. So, any other? Yeah.
Oh, how many eggs do you do? Eggs.
Oh, how many eggs do I do? I would say 2 to 3, depending on when your next meal is going to be. And for eggs, what brand are you currently buying? You don't have a brand. Okay. I would recommend Vital Farms. That's been one of my favorites. But you have to think chickens, like what they're eating is important. So even if it says cage-free, that doesn't really mean anything. That just means they're just like in a pen, but still all together. A crowded pen, yes. And so you want pasture-raised, ideally organic, free-range eggs. And they actually taste a lot better. Like the difference between, and even organic doesn't necessarily mean anything because like Costco has the organic cage-free, but they don't taste nearly as good, I don't think, as the Vital Farms.
we
So
should
Vital
get-
Farms,
We should get our own chickens then.
yes, that would be the ideal,
My
that would be
sister's
the ideal.
neighbor had chickens.
That is awesome. I would love to have my own chickens, yeah. But
You have a whole nother side of your little backyard you could do.
yeah, I know, right? So side
It's not a
note,
rooster, you can't have a rooster in the
yeah. This is really awesome. Shawnee's husband built us a, what would you call it?
It's
A
a
garden box,
vegetable-
right? Yeah, vegetable garden.
Oh,
So
really?
we started a vegetable garden this year. So we're about to start harvesting some of the stuff, which is awesome. But our backyard's pretty small, so it's like half the backyard is our vegetable garden. So we got another
You have
half.
like 4 by 8 feet, yeah.
Yeah, we could do another little thing, but then the chickens wouldn't be free range.
No, but you can do the
You know.
chickens, otherwise you can eat all the bugs on your veggies.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
We have so gotten away from that because growing up,
Yeah,
I come from a large family,
yeah.
and each one of us was responsible for a vegetable patch outside.
That is awesome.
And we did it. You did it.
Yeah.
You were responsible. You did it. And
Yeah.
then my mom canned all the vegetables.
And she
That is
killed all the
awesome.
nutrients.
Yeah. Yeah.
My mother
Yeah,
canned all
it
the
was
time
a
too.
way to, yes.
Yes.
Do they do, tours for like children and stuff, families at
Mhm.
Primal Farm?
Yeah, they do. And there's another local farm called that I've been wanting to try. Has anyone been to Amy's? It's in Ontario. You have? Okay.
Amy's Farm is great. It's like right off Lake Euclid in Chico, Ontario. And actually a family friend that I grew up with, it's her family farm. And they do all organic vegetables. You can actually go any day, anytime. They do tours, especially for children, like on Saturdays. But you can go anytime and pick vegetables. And they have a farmer's market type store. They have a farm store there, and they're really laid back. And I don't think they do meat anymore, but they also provide some of their produce and things for some local restaurants and